He was actually my mentor in many, many ways. I learned a lot from him. But there are many volunteers who came in on the scene from the beginning. Your dad was one. There was many, many others. And some of the original staff, like Ernie DeNoncourt and Peter Icabucci, who are still serving that club in many ways. And countless number of volunteers from working within the club and working the soccer league. Too many to mention names that I might be able to leave somebody out, and I don't want to do that. But there were many, many people. And if I had to put the numbers over the last 40 years, it is well close to 200 or more people. And some of them are here at the golf tournament today.
Now, how would you describe the situation of the club as it is today?
Well, certainly there have been many changes in the manner in which children and teens participate in activities. 40 years ago, there was simple games, simple technology, simple things to do. But 40 years later, we're in a whole new environment, and the clubs, all the clubs, including the North Providence Club, has to move with the times, and they've done a successful job with that. There were games that we played in the games room in the gymnasium 40 years ago that don't work any longer. So the club itself has moved up to 2006 and has to deal with the population change, the cultural changes in the town, as well as the many other changes that take place within the family structures that are in the community of North Providence. And with that comes many more needs, both especially needs for children who have financial needs, and also there is a new program called Kids Cafe, which every day is feeding eligible children, giving them a great meal around supper time when they normally wouldn't have one. And if you remember going back 40 years, 35 years ago, a lot of kids' only snack or their only supper was something from the vending machine, because they were there from 3 in the afternoon till 9 at night. Now those kids are getting fed well. So the clubs have made changes into 2006 very well, and I'm very glad to see that happen.
Now, with everything that the Alumni Association has done with the money raising and everything like that, how would you like to see it best spent in the future, Don?
Well, the club itself, the North Providence Club has and always will need something. If it isn't repairs, the club is now getting to be 40 years old, the building is, and certainly there are going to be repairs that are going to be necessary outside and inside. Maybe the North Providence Boys and Girls Club Alumni Association will know what those needs are. I'm sure will help us improve some of the conditions of the building. And secondly, one of the things, and I want to put this actually first, is the human needs of the kids in that community. An opportunity for kids to participate in a lot of activities that can't normally afford it, and many other things that can improve their social skills, as well as all their athletic skills and campuships, scholarships, whatever they may be. I always will believe, and I'll never change my mind, it's the human service needs that are most important. There are many kids who needed it in 1968, and there are equally, if not more, that now need them in 2006. And the association is playing a major role in helping those kids in many different ways. And that, I'm very proud of the association for what they do. They've never lost the human services that were given to them. They're now giving it back. And for that reason, I'm proud of every one of them.
Well, I know no one has given back as much as you, Don, and hopefully someone else out there will step up and give most of their life like you did to the Boys Club, Don. And we look forward to the next person stepping up. We look forward to the next generation really taking over for the kids in North Providence.
And they will be. There will be a continuing leadership in that club, I'm sure, for as many years as that club exists. I thank God every day that He gives me every day, and secondly, that He gives me the opportunity every year to at least get here and be part of this association. So what I do is I stay focused and I work hard so I can be at the next one. And more importantly, I said it the last time, I absolutely look forward. If there's anything I look forward to in my life, is to say, back to you guys. That means more to me in many ways. That means more to me than you can ever imagine. I sit home and I just say back to you guys. It's just so embedded in my mind because I gotta say it. Back to you guys. It'll always be the most outstanding phrase I've ever heard. Nobody. I think there have been many great phrases that were written over the years by many talented people, but back to you guys, that just rings with the most spirit I got in my soul.
Well done. We really appreciate you being on the show again, and we really appreciate you coming to the tournament.
Yep.
We look forward to seeing you every year.
Absolutely.
And for what you did in the past, we thank you again. And you're wonderful, Don. You're great, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
And we can say it on the count of three. You ready? 1,
Yes.
2, 3. Back to you guys on JTV.
JTV.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. Good job, man. Is on JTV.
JTV.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. Good job, man. Hello, this is Ralph Medici in North Providence at the Salvatore Mancini Resource and Activity Center. We're going to bring you a show today that's going to be honoring the Ronci family, who's been very, very generous to the people of North Providence and the entire state of Rhode Island. So please stay tuned for some great interviews, JTV style, and back to you guys.
Pleasant surprise to drive up and see this many people out here for something that has a rich history here in town. Today we're unveiling a monument in honor of a family that called this area home for many, many years. As many of you know, I would assume many of you know that the site of the senior center was the site of Ronci Manufacturing and Fernando and Maria Ronci, and there's a rich history here. Back in 1939, the Ronci family attempted to purchase this property to put their business here. Because because of the war, they were unable to find the financing because we all knew what was going on during those years. So until 1944, where they then relocated their biscuit business here from Providence. And they then opened up what was at that point the world's largest their organization, their dedication to the community goes far beyond that. I know many of you who know of the family know that what they're well known for is their charitable organization, their charitable contributions. From what I understand, they were very instrumental in what we know today as the Fogarty Center. So they accomplished great things at the Fogarty Center. And the family was awarded the Profile and Courage Award personally from Rose Kennedy because of their efforts towards charitable organizations and in particular the Fogarty Center. So it is with great honor that I have the opportunity as mayor here to dedicate this monument at this wonderful place here, the Senior Center. And we do this for two reasons. Number one, as a tribute to what the Ronti family did for many years here in this town and the number of lives that they helped. In particular, those of you who may be former employees of Ronti Manufacturing, but also the number of lives they touched through their donations, through their charitable organizations, and through their efforts in the Fogarty Center. And it's also here as a reminder to future generations what was once here, because if we don't remind future generations what took place, then they will not know of the great people who live in this town and the great people who called this town home when it came to business. I want to thank Karen Tester for her assistance here. This could not have been done without Karen Tester and the Senior Center. They do a wonderful job here. They service so many people, but I want to thank her for her efforts in allowing us to put this here in this perfect location, and again realizing that this was once the home of a business that was run by the Ronti family and that gave a lot to the community of North Providence. It's really defined us as to what we are today in this great community. And so what I would like to do at this point is I would like to ask the Ronti family, Fred Ronti and Mr. Ronti, and also the Honorable Judge Joe Rogers to join me here, because I know he's a very dear friend of the family, so we can officially unveil him. Fred? You want to grab some? Okay. Officially, it says that Fernando and Maria Ronti and family on this site developed the F. Ronti Company, the world's largest buckle manufacturing company, 1923 to 1990. There are so many people who knew the family, who are aware of their contributions to this town and this area, and I know one in particular who would like to share with us some of his thoughts and some of his words, a very dear friend of mine and a dear friend of the Ronti family, the Honorable Judge Joe Rogers.
Hey, this is Ralph Medici on JTV at the Sal Mancini Resource and Activity Center with Justice Joseph Rogers. Judge, tell us what brings you here today.
Fred Ronti and I were classmates at LaSalle Academy, and this past December I received a phone call from a young man who wanted to know the address of the guy who owned the mansion that allowed underprivileged kids from South Providence to come to share spaghetti and meatballs, and they all received an individualized wrapped Christmas present. Now, when this young man called me, I hadn't seen or talked to him in 44 years. And what he related to me was he was speaking with his sister the night before, talking about memorable Christmases. And you have to understand that these kids were all brought up in a very low-income area. And many of them are from a single-parent home 45 years ago. And for this young man to recall that particular event, I thought was rather remarkable. I happened to share that with Fred in January. He asked me if I could see if I could locate the young man. I was unable to do so. But 44 years later, a black kid from South Providence calls me asking for the name of an Italian American who was so good to them. And a lot of times people do things, as you all know, and don't really appreciate the significance it has on some people,
right,
especially the young.
Or the immediate feedback that the lasting
feedback that
This
they have.
young man will remember this for 44 years. And I thought that was rather remarkable, so I was honored when Fred told me about this particular occasion, and he asked if I could come up, and I said, sure.